could lose a little more weight in that face.
Oh, here we go. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
This is the Dave and Dave show. This is my esteemed, preeminent father, David Ronald Tina, who decided to drop some knowledge on me right before we came on to live. So we're ready to go. I'm David.julien Tina, and we have a great topic today. But before we get started, what we do at Urban Nest is we usually bring on one of our partners for our inner office Dave and Dave show, which we've been doing weekly for outside of the office because we're getting great feedback on that. But today we have a special surprise. We have Amy.julien, who's been with us for a long time, at least 3 years. She's with Axia Home Loans. She is the saver of loans. So this is not a pitch by any means, but all of her information is there. Our topic today is it a buyer or a seller's market? We disagree. After Amy, we have Faith Harmer coming up, but we're going to kind of preface it with you and just asking you what's going on as far as the mortgage rates. That's going to be one of our questions, and what's going on as far as programs, because I mean, you know, we were all here in 2004, 5, and 6, right? So what's going on? Where if 800 credit score, 20% down, owner rock,
You're looking in the high fours.
Still
in the high fours. I would say 4 3/4, 4 7/8 is probably really close to what we're looking at. Sometimes it inches up to 5. And I do see rates continually going up.
You do. That's the feedback my father and I have been getting. So all these economists and all these things that we're forced to sit through, they're saying they're going up. So we had heard that 2019 is going to be the year of the 5% mortgage. Would you agree with that?
Definitely. It's going to stay it's going to go into the 5s and stay into the 5s. I know right now I was able to lock in a loan recently for an investor at 5.5%. To me, that's a great rate
for an
investment property.
That's awesome.
So now that was with 30% down, great credit scores. It was over 740, and low debt to income ratio. So I still see that the rates are good, but they are going up.
Now, I can't remember the perfect stat. I know we talked about it. There was a sheet that we looked at, and even like under 6, everything in 5%, those rates are historically better than like 90% of the time that we've had mortgages. And I don't know if people have been in the market for a short period of time, maybe younger. I'm 40, but they don't realize that even when we bought in 95 for the first time out here in 94, it was like 7-8%, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was like 8 and something, right? When we bought Mapleview?
No, a little less. 8.5 was when you were born, when I bought Ohio.
But then it jumped to 18, right?
And
I remember those days.
Early 80s, 18.
So it's not too late to get in. We're going to talk now. The second part of this, the rates aren't a potential issue. A potential issue is affordability, especially on the entry level. Right. So what are the banks doing? What are they presenting to you as options to get people into homes? Are there new products out there as far as like, are we seeing 100% come back?
Yes.
You know, we're going to see
options.
Bank statement loans.
Right. No income, more foreign national possibilities. They're starting to loosen up, but we're still not there to where it is considered the norm yet.
Yeah.
It's still considered an ARM product, higher rates. It's not a desirable program that you want to stay in.
Which is, I believe,
it's
good.
an entry level.
Yes.
Exactly. It's more of an entry into that market, and then you want to refinance or do something down the road.
So not to get all technical, but even bank statement loans. So you're really just seeing is what's coming in and what's going out, right?
Exactly.
So if people are getting paid a different way, they want to see incomes coming in, especially tips, right, and things like that.
Or self-employed individuals where they take the maximum write-offs they can from the IRS, which we would all do.
Yep.
And just because you take those write-offs, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac want you to use what your net income is. And so that's where those loans kind of come into play.
Beautiful. So they're looking for some alternative ways, yet not where we're gonna get in trouble. Because you remember, I mean, I was doing loans back then. I never sold an option on them.
I didn't either.
Those
ever.
were just.
It was just
rough.
a bad product.
It really was. Well, okay, so maybe some opening up on that. Now, just a plug for Amy. The way Amy got in 3-4 years ago, a friend of ours, I don't know if he's watching, Chris Kane, he was trying to get a house.
Right.
And we knew the listing agent, and Angie was representing our friend Chris and Lisa.
Right.
And they ended up getting a cash offer. And Amy
And it was a busy market during that time.
just like now. It was a seller's market, just like now, right?
Don't go off topic.
Anyway, there was slow response on the listing agent. We were the first ones in, but then they got a cash offer, and with some great negotiating by myself and Angie, and having you being able to close this bad boy in like 10, 11 days. I mean, it was crazy.
Right.
Appraisal super fast. We had to, give up earnest money after appraisal. Everything went boom, boom, boom. And that was her way in. And, I don't want to put you on the spot and give you only all the hard ones. But obviously the good ones, anyone can knock out. That's easy. Any loan officer can do it. Any realtor could do an easy transaction, although I don't know if they exist anymore, right? But Amy will go super deep and wide.
I will. Not all of them can close super quick. There are circumstances that happen along the way on a loan, sometimes where they were supposed to sell a home or something, which they didn't, and we have to restructure the file. And in circumstances like that, there are delays because we're trying to figure out another way to do the loan. But if there's a way to get the loan done, my team and I will get it done. For sure.
Yeah.
Couldn't.
And you unfortunately get the blame when the buyers screw up or not do as promised.
Exactly.
Yesterday we were doing a sheet Danny gave me from Buffini, 88 ways where
Things
could
could
go wrong. And part of it was about the buyers lying, not saying they have an income, a house didn't sell.
Right.
I thought of you on one of the transactions.
Yeah, but you're a leader, and leaders, when things go wrong, they take all the blame themselves.
I do, and I
when
just
things
move forward.
when things go right, they share in the success.
Exactly,
So
and I can't do it without my team.
Exactly.
I mean, for sure.
Without
And
that.
it is, I think that one thing that everybody has to remember too is the realtor and our mortgage company, our team, we have to work as a team or it doesn't work at all. I have to support them, they have to support me in order to make this really work to where we're all getting referrals and the client's ultimately happy.
Beautiful.
So that's my spin on that.
If you're in the market, Urban Nest uses Amy, and give her a call. So, see, painless.
Thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys.
All right, take care.
All right, bye-bye.
All right.
Putting you in for the hard part, Faith. He's trying to use you.
I'm
Trying to use you
coming
against
in to
me.
be Judge Judy.
Yes.
This could
straight.
really affect. So I brought props and materials ready to make my point. So
always a cheater.
I'm ready to go.
No advance notice. I'll go what's in my brain.
So the topic today is: are we still in a seller's market, or have we transitioned into a buyer's market? We don't agree.
Right, he's boxed me into saying it's a buyer's
No,
market.
you're more on that threshold.
I'm on, it's a line now where it's not a seller's market like it used to be because inventory's going up, people are overpricing, everyone's thinking they got gold and I'm telling them they don't, and that the market jumping off the market or multiple offers or higher than list is going to be a
now
high.
you're jumping around again already.
I always do.
We still have to introduce Faith.
Go ahead. Everyone knows Faith in camera world, but go ahead.
True. I want to make it official.
Go ahead.
I'm in the squeaky chair, I'll be still.
No, it's alright. This is, the beauty of this is that it's real, right? I was watching something last night and they were saying that people are craving for real, right?
Absolutely.
With all you can't even sneeze wrong.
Authenticity.
Exactly.
I don't think we don't know how to do non-real.
I know.
A script would not work.
He still yells at me when I curse, which I inevitably will today. But so faith journey with us has been a great one. We actually reconnected 4 or 5 years ago when you were at another company.
Yep, I think I've been with you 5 years now.
5 years.
I
That's
think
crazy.
so.
So we just opened, and I won't name them, I won't put them on the spot, but the company that Faith was at, the owners called my father and I, and we're like, hey, come on over, and
I remember.
can you give us an hour of your time, and just to take a look at what we're doing in our company. And we were brand new, and I was like, I don't want to buy a company, Pops. And he's like, let's just go and figure it out. We're driving in the Northwest trying to find that spot.
That is
Yeah.
me. Let's just
I
go.
remember when you guys came in.
Right?
Yeah.
And Melissa must have mentioned you like 10 times. Oh, you must know her. And I believe in that fate. You know what I mean? Like you were on our top of mind, and then like 6 months later, you were coming by because they were changing their model.
Well, I normally vacillate. Like whenever I'm thinking about changing companies, I'll go interview 5 or maybe 10 companies. Like, it's like buying a house. You know, this one has this nice feature, but this one has this nice feature. If only I could combine them all. But I've been watching you guys for a while on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I ever move, I know exactly what I'm going to. And sure enough, as soon as I knew I needed to move, I didn't interview anyone else. I'm just like, hey, I'm coming.
And you were just like, I'm coming. I was like, all right, like don't screw this up. We really don't have to say anything, right? But since then, we've had the honor of watching you just go like that J curve, right? Just right up in compound interest. And we've from a small office with an assistant,
very small,
right? And then we had like the assistant,
and 2 offices.
Yep, and then a new assistant, and then a team, and just to throw it out there, and I don't know how you feel comfortable about us bragging about you, but Faith does more deals with less people than, especially, I mean, you just keep growing, but there was one year, 3 of you did like 97 deals? Like 2 of you, right?
Last year,
It was unbelievable. Our systems are on point. You create things, if you don't find something you like, you just make it yourself, right? She's a beacon within our, not only our company, but in our industry.
Thank you.
We love having you. All right, with a decent introduction.
Yep. Oh, that was great. Thank you.
Plus, she's an amazing person, which is icing on the cake. All right, so here's what I'm thinking. Buyer's market, seller's market, right? Can we all agree we are in a super hot seller's market for what, like the last 18 months?
Yeah, I felt it for about 3 years,
Oh,
actually.
yeah.
I mean, with little pockets.
Yep.
I always say when people start talking about is it a bubble or not, I remember the bubble before. It was 8 months. I counted. It was 8 months. It was like a faucet turned off.
Yep.
This time for the last, actually for 4 years, we've been doing up, flat, and there's been little pockets.
Little
and then,
plateaus,
yeah,
right?
this last 18 months with a really low inventory has been very, very hot. But I definitely feel a cooling.
Okay.
I definitely do.
Ding ding! Stop.
Except
1 point.
for-
No, you can stay with that. You can stay with that.
I'm
We can
giving
go
my-
back
I'm
and
only
forth.
giving myself
Highlight.
1 point. Ahead.
A cooling doesn't mean we've gone over the threshold, though, right?
No, it's okay. Say what you gotta say, babe.
All right, so but let's break this down a little bit more, right? So it's not just we have to look at a couple different indicators, right? So one would be price, one would be time on market, like what's the average day of houses on the market, and one would be what's our inventory, how many months of inventory we would be. So I'm going to set you up here. For a middle of the road, equal 50% buyer's market, 50% seller's market, where it's equal negotiation. How many months supply would you guys say that looks like?
You know, because you're numbers driven through GLBAR, you like talking about.
I'm like a beautiful
like
mind.
talking
All I
about-
see is numbers when I close my
Yeah, you
eyes.
like talking about month supply and
Just
the more
answer the question,
technical
buddy.
side.
Right?
I go by, hey Faith, how are your listings doing? Well, you know, this one I don't have an offer.
Answer the question.
We have about a 2.5 months.
I know what the supply is. It's not a 2.5 month. It is actually less than 2 months supply. But what would you consider? I'll ask her because you want to talk about vacillating.
What are you gonna say? Oh, it's 6 months. 6 months supply.
I'll even give you 4, but I'm curious. So let's see, Faith. How many months supply you think normal market, equal market?
Well, I remember when I first started, it was 4 to 6 months on average to sell a home.
Ding.
So I would say about 3 months
Okay.
would be middle of the road.
Fair. All right. Cool with that. So, And
which we are fastly heading to.
Yeah, the numbers have really popped
you
up.
are smoking crack. We are not fastly approaching
We were just,
that.
was it last week at 47, 48?
Yeah,
This week we're 53?
Yeah.
So we have 5,369 available ER listings.
Single
right?
family.
Right?
Which is still low inventory.
Yes.
Last month we sold, we meaning the entire industry, not our company.
Yes.
3186.
Mm-hmm.
So 3186 times 2 is like 6362. So we're not even at a 2 month supply still. Okay? Just putting that out there. Do I have something on my face? You're looking at me. Do I have something in my nose? Will someone make a comment if I have something in my nose? You will leave me
Go like
hanging.
this.
Georgia and I actually have a pact that we will tell each other. All right. So how about I give you an easy one though? What about median price? Do you think median price is an indicator of the market softening?
Absolutely.
Yes, and I mean, and to talk about like seller's market or buyer's market, if you're 250 or even 300 and under, and you price it right and it's in good condition, you are still in a very strong seller's market.
And I said exactly the same as
But
you
you start getting even like 400 or so and up, and it starts chilling a little bit, and if you're a little off on price compared to condition and location, then I'm noticing in that price point, I'm not getting the volume of showings that I was, or the volume of offers. So
I agree with that.
Gonna have to definitely be better on the listing side, you know, for a lot of agents, better pictures, stronger buyer co-ops, maybe even some bonuses, you know, stuff like that to get things moving along like they were before.
So I think what is gonna happen is we're all gonna agree what is happening, but we're gonna look at what does it mean. So the prices have stayed stagnant for the first time in a while. So we were at a 290,000 median price for the last 2 months, and we were at 295 in May. So we actually went from 289 in April to 295 in May, and then June and July we were stuck at 290. So flattening out, right? So that would play into you guys saying it's softening, right?
Yes.
But that 290,
Excuse me, I gave another point.
you're going to take that point right off the board right here. That 290 is up 11.5% from last year
Still
at the
fantastic.
same point. So that's almost a 12% year-over-year appreciation.
Which we don't disagree with.
Okay? Just putting that out
Do
there.
not disagree.
Well, here's another trend I've noticed that's really different in the last 3 years. So for my first 19 years in real estate, November, December were, you know, definitely slower because of the holidays, and then January would take off and be crazy busy. I've noticed this last 3 years, November, December are the most closings,
Yep.
and I'm assuming it's because in October the Fed start talking about raising interest rates and people get a little panicked and start buying. But then January's a little bit more quiet, and then I've noticed March is pretty busy. I've also noticed people taking more and longer vacations and family vacations, which is fantastic. But I have noticed how certain holidays, for instance, around the 4th of July took me by surprise, because 4th of July was on a Wednesday, and I didn't expect for people to leave from Saturday to Wednesday. And so that was a really quiet period, whereas before that wouldn't have been that impactful because people just didn't travel as much 10 years ago as they do now.
It definitely was because I always talk about the Christmas in July, right? It's the like vacationing time, when people kind of take off, both agents and people.
Every agent on Facebook was away.
But also people like normal people buying and selling, they put it off. So I believe that plateau is expected. Now we went right through that plateau for a couple of years. The summers were
I
crazy.
didn't notice it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's anecdotal. What do you see happening what do you think the numbers are going to look like in August and September and for the rest of the year? That's my point. What do you
I'll
think?
let Faith, because you're gonna.
Okay.
I'll back her.
I think we're gonna see those numbers continually slowly go up.
Continually slowly go up. You
Yeah.
mean the inventory or the price? Okay.
Inventory.
So-
I think price is gonna be flat for a little bit.
All right. So price
Or
is flat.
teeny increases.
Inventory up and average days on the market up.
Yep, I think listing agent's gonna have to work a little harder.
Which is, I think, a great thing. So
I second that emotion.
I should have invited somebody else.
Sorry, Dave. You know, I'm primarily a listing agent, so
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I feel it first.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. Just a little caveat, since this is out in the public, if you are listed with someone, this is not a solicitation. I know I have to put that out there.
Not the public.
This is public.
I thought we were in Facebook today.
He thought it was Urban Nest.
We're not
To
in
the
that.
world.
Everyone.
Yeah, we're in our own world.
He was like,
Oh,
what?
I thought we were only on us.
See, if you come in on time, you know what's going
Okay,
on.
I withdraw everything I said. My name is Joseph Smith, and I live in Smithtown, New York.
But no, this is good because here's why. If you are thinking about what's going on, you need to know the right information. So other agents from other companies, people who are prospective buyers or sellers, even if you're not doing it with this company, this is good information to have. And so we're trying to educate the public as well as the industry on what's going on. Now, when Faith says listing agents have to work a little bit harder, in a crazy seller's market, some agents just put it on the listing and they don't do the entire thing. So what we believe in, and Faith does an amazing job, is going through an entire listing package, strategy, and procedure of things to do to market and present it perfectly. What are we getting? All right, I gotcha. So that should be done regardless of the market.
Yes.
But in a really, really hot market, some agents can get away with not fulfilling that. Now, I agree. Who you choose to list your property is going to play even more and more
Absolutely.
of a role in not an easy market. So what I was saying on Facebook Live the other day, and I hope this doesn't come off sexist, and that's usually something that comes off sexist when you say it first thing. But I was saying it's like, I compare like it's a relationship. So if there's one pretty house in the neighborhood, like the prettiest girl at the block, right? You're gonna get 10 offers, 8 offers, whatnot. Now I believe there's gonna be more options in that neighborhood. So there's gonna be more pretty houses. So while I believe there's a softening, I still believe there's gonna be multiple offers, just not as many. So yes, you're gonna have to position it more correctly. Yes, you're gonna have to have your marketing on point. Yes, it's gonna have to be positioned to the other agent in a more desirable way. That's my way of putting it. But I still believe that our average days in market, which were, 75% of all houses went into escrow within 30 days.
Yeah.
Which is still fantastic, but what I'm feeling now is I'm in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Gotcha. So a
So
little micro
I'm like on the moment
I am too.
right now. It's been
And
this last
let it be said, I'm not saying the sky is falling.
No, not at all.
What we're saying is it was a jamboree these last 6
Yeah.
months. List it, don't even need pictures, send it out, price it half
sellers
right.
can pick numbers that they don't.
Pick numbers,
Yeah.
get an appraisal, multiple offers, those
Waive
days.
appraisal
So
contingency.
what I and Faith, I think, are saying together is don't price it at what the seller wants, but what you truly know it's worth. Do as good a job as possible as you can in presenting the listing. Pick up your phone. That's a great mystery
That's a
of
great
life. Fill out the forms and respond to the other agents because they are your co-workers. And if you do that, it'll get sold. That being said, I believe next year is going to go back to being busy again.
Well, let's actually,
Busier.
but it could still be a seller's market, as far as, and for all you sellers out there, I don't think you have to give away your house now. You don't.
Oh no, not at all.
Yeah, but what's happening is we were so hot. We weren't California or Northern California, New York. You could really put your house really high. What you seeing in Red Rock and you were seeing in your markets, people are just getting these high prices and still getting paid off.
And
As long
buyers,
as they were priced right in the first
right,
place.
and buyers were willing to pay $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 over, depending the appraisal, depending on the price range in that time to get the house. I don't think you're going to see that again. I think buyers are gonna willing to pay appraisal price.
But is that a softening or is that sellers coming back down to reality?
I call it a leveling.
Correctioning?
Not a correction because it's
correctioning.
supply.
That's not a real word.
No, correctioning, but it's supply and demand.
I agree.
And the supply is going up and the demand is going down.
Demand still outweighs the supply.
And in my 22 years in Vegas, I mean, that's the only place I've done real estate, but 22 years, Vegas has always been price sensitive. Even in that hot market that we had, you know, a whole 8 months of hot market, you still had to price right. And then you would get your multiple offers. Then you go 20 and 30 and 40,000 over asking. But if you started off 40,000 too high, you are still sitting, and it's still true now. As long as you price it right for what you've got to sell, you're going to get plenty of showings. You're still going to, depending on the price point, you're still going to be in escrow probably within a week or two.
Right.
It's still good. You just can't go crazy on the price. You've got to be realistic.
And
So
the
it's an
thing
accountable
is,
measure.
and ask an expert. You know, I heard on a radio show coming in yesterday, and they're saying in this smoking, burning hot market, well, if you're an expert, if you're part of the realtor family, you know the burning. We're not saying that anymore.
It's not necessarily the realtor family.
Unless you're at 250 and under.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
That's a whole
yeah,
other
that's
story.
the key. I agree with you.
But even then, you see you get 15 offers, 250 and under. You still have to have an agent that knows how to navigate through, use the right forms, not get you into escrow with two people, not get everyone else mad because if the first person that wins it loses, that you haven't burned
Well,
all
like
the
that
bridges.
one I had, a month and a half ago, it was 179.9, 25 offers.
Yes.
That is that's difficult to wade through. I mean, I had to do the whole spreadsheet and everything because that was a challenge in itself.
And some new homes under 260, there's multiple offers on the new homes, bidding wars, lotteries, come in and get it at that type of price range. That we all agree. With a 2 on it,
let me ask you.
you're gonna get multiple.
I'll be interested to see if October really picks up again like it has the last 3 years, and see if November and December are as crazy as they were the last 3.
I'm betting October's going to pick up.
I think it will.
I do too.
I think supply does not outweigh demand yet. I think demand is still higher than supply.
I agree with that.
Okay.
I definitely agree with that.
But I like, because it's an evening out. And when you have a market that is so swayed towards one side, whether it be the sellers or the buyers, it's an unhealthy market.
Yeah.
And that's when some things start happening that nobody likes. And, you know, buyers get put in a bad position. You know, sellers get these unrealistic expectations of where they're at. And I think these expectations are going to be brought back down
And
to reality.
I think that the expectation of the sellers and the buyers need to understand. In 2008, the median price
$315
was $315
for resales.
So if you go back to houses that were sold at 5, 6, 7, you are trying now. Some buyers and sellers are looking at houses priced higher than they were then. Now, well, if the median price was $315 then and it's $290 today, why would your house be more expensive than it was when the median price was on the highest? So a great analogy.
Yeah, that's pockets.
Well, I mean, but a great analogy is price your house to the last comparable sale. Then add the upgrades you have that they don't have, and then take the minuses of backing a road or heavy traffic or a berm, smaller lot, and minus. And if you plus and minus and price your house reasonable, and it doesn't look like, unfortunately, we were talking about this yesterday, updated is the new word. It needs update. I drove home yesterday from here, I live in Red Rock, and drove around 4 new dumpsters of houses. That's all I do is drive. If I shut my eyes, I'm probably going to smash into 7.
You know, you're such a good driver that maybe if you shut your eyes, you'll avoid
Avoid
all
it.
of that.
Yes,
I think it's probably...
What, with the self-driving cars?
Yeah, exactly. So when you price your house, if it isn't updated, know that buyers at $100,000, $1 million, $2 million, they all want updated.
And that's,
so
that's
part
the problem with the inventory. But let's talk about some anecdotal situations that I think really play into the fact that it's still a seller's market. So I did this comps class on Monday, right? And I just pulled up, your house, your old rental house,
Yes.
in Ivy Glen, which is a nice Summerlin community in the Gardens.
It is.
It's a 1-story house with 1,837 square feet. A great little floor plan, right? You sold it for $345 to Brian Mercado, if you're watching. And then he
As an agent.
his client flipped it.
Plus money in.
They just painted it. That's all they did.
You're talking to the pro.
They got rid of the ugly dark walls you have.
They
It's white
painted
walls.
it. They did all new landscaping because all the landscaping died,
Okay.
and they added some trim on the floor, some mold.
Okay. So
Probably
no.
20 grand.
Okay. So it went for $385, less than a year, right?
Right.
Now, one just went for $420. Okay.
Which is a phenomenal price. That's as high as the highest.
And this is what they did.
Wow.
This is all they did. They put nice modern quartz, and they did a new farmhouse sink, right? Or what is it called? Farmhouse sink?
Yeah.
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 And they painted the cabinets. So the kitchen looks beautiful. Other than that,
So let's stop.
That's it.
Because remember what I talk about update? Update could be staining your cabinets, changing some flooring, and painting the walls. That alone, that 10 to 12 grand will get you $40,000 to $50,000 more. So point to you,
okay.
make it pretty, make it updated, and you will get that.
And
money.
now there's one in escrow for $440.
With the pool.
Beautiful pool.
Right,
But that's and a cheaper overhang,
right.
right? But no updates in the house.
No, just clean.
It's just normal. It looks
Yeah,
like
it's on
late
the block.
90s,
I know
early
it is.
2000s. You know, the
No,
bull
it was
nose.
built. It was
No,
built.
the upgrades look like
Right.
it. You know, built with the bullnose, old school granite. It's in escrow. I think around it was listed for $440.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, they're still getting the prices. My old community in Willow Creek, which I miss and love.
I heard.
You heard, yes. A house went for $975 in one day. One day.
We're not saying that the market isn't good. We're saying that if you have your house listed and it isn't selling, there's 3 reasons. 1,
Okay.
it
Overpriced.
Overpriced. That's number 1. 2, it isn't updated and everybody wants it to be updated.
In which case you gotta adjust your price.
Yes.
Exactly. Which plays into the price.
And then 3, it has an obstacle that we can't change.
Some type of obsolescence.
Right. Backing a
Is
road.
history-
2 stories all looking down into it, all sides you, 2 stories and you're a 1 story. Stuff like that we can't change, except if we put in 12-foot trees.
Out of the 3 things he
And
said,
adjust the price for those things.
exactly. How much weight would you put on number 1 of the price being the number 1 reason why it's not selling?
100%.
Yeah. See.
As long as you have everything else in place. So I actually have a listing right now that I'm surprised we're not getting very many showings.
Mhm.
And I explained to my sellers, we have literally everything in place. I pay for professional pictures. I pay for a video that goes on Zillow. I'm available. I offer 3%. Everything is the same for all of my sellers. I have a very detailed process that we go through.
Very detailed.
So, and it's on every website known to man, every social media platform. We'll do an open house, anything. So if you have all of those things in place and you're still not getting showings, the only thing left is price. That's it. Now, timing. School just got in, and this year's school is really early again. And then you've got the charter schools and private schools that start different than public schools, so that does have some effect.
Yeah.
But like I told them, if we don't get through in the next week and a half, then it's the price, because then things have changed. School's back in, people are in their routine. Coming into September and October, get a little bit busier.
I think that's the best time to sell. There's a couple of things I meant to tell you. I didn't know this, and I guess I'm the only one who didn't know this, but I'm on the new MLS committee, and I was like, we should be able to put our best picture first. And they're like, dum-dum, you can. Did you know this?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
So number 1 picture, because
does not have to be the front of the
it's got to be, like, for instance, that house is sold for $420, the number 1 picture should be the kitchen.
Well, they used to require that, didn't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, no
It
more.
had to be the
Now
front.
it could be the
Backyard,
hottest
pool.
option of the home.
Yes, which
Yeah.
I think is so important, because the way people search for homes is they go to Realtor.com, they go to Zillow, they go to Redfin, and they're swiping through. I do it because I fantasize about a second home in California, and I swipe.
Yeah.
And I don't even go through each listing. If I'm not attracted to that first pick,
picture.
Right.
it's game over. So number one is that. Number two.
So let's talk
okay.
about our personal houses. What would be your first picture?
My kitchen. No, my view.
Thank you. You got the right one.
My kitchen's awesome, huh?
Probably Paul's shop.
Okay, I knew that you were gonna say that. And me, it would be a 50-foot backyard of grass leading to a golf course, a double fairway. That's what I love. There's not many people that have 50 feet of grass leading to a double fairway. How do you pick your first picture? Your point of difference. What the three of us all did was pick our point of.
It's a good question.
Who in your life would have a view that he has a panoramic mountains in your backyard? She has a shop that every man, every horse owner that I looked at the shop and said, wow, I could make this an awesome barn. So it's the point of difference. Is our house beautiful? Yes, it is. It's new, it's beautiful. But her point of difference is that shop. So when you're putting that first picture, make it your point of difference, because that's what's going to lead on to
so they go a little deeper.
And pay attention to who you're going to market to. So for instance, if you have a house with RV parking, some people don't understand the importance of RV parking to some people. I know, we were sand railers, sand duners, and had travel trailers and did that a lot. So I understand the importance of RV parking.
Boats
and so many times when you've got a buyer who wants it, I don't even use the drop down, because so many listing agents neglect to select that, and then we'll miss something. So it's a little harder to shop for that. So if you've got RV parking, like make that front and
it's
center.
like a unicorn.
You bet.
Yeah, especially you got the single story RV and 4 bedrooms or something.
So something with your listing and listings out there. So Brian Copeland has this great breakdown. He says for every 10 showings you have,
I heard that the other day. It was good.
you should get one offer. So what happens sometimes, sellers out there, you get lulled into thinking you have this perfect house because you're getting showings and excitement, but then no offers come. So then it still comes back to 100% of price, right? If you want to take it a little bit deeper, which I know you would probably love this, every 1,000 impressions online should equal one showing.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right?
So for those that don't know, an impression is somebody looking at it.
Online.
Yeah. Here's another thing I experienced, because I don't handle buyers very much anymore, but I had a past
She has a whole team to do that, though.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
I
don't just show buyers.
Exactly.
But yeah, my buyer's agents usually handle the buyers. But I was out showing some houses the other day to some past clients. And I really noticed, like with the listing agents, it's really important to have your direct contact information in there, because one agent, like some would call me and want feedback right away and I could contact them directly. Another agent only had his office number in there, and it was Saturday and Sunday that we were writing an offer. I couldn't get a hold of him directly. I went to when I call the office, there was some music number, and I'm holding, and finally I hung up. So finally I found him on Facebook and messaged, but I was just like, have your cell phone number in there. Let me get a hold of you.
God forbid you have your cell phone number. That means they could contact you, and you may have to look
It's like the basics.
Yeah, just a text or something.
I mean, my card, everything about, even as a broker, everything about me is accessible. On Facebook, I have my cell number.
Oh, here's another pet peeve of mine. When you get an email and in the email signature, there's not a phone number, and I have to hunt for the other agent's number. I'm like, if you're in real estate, put your phone number everywhere.
I mean, even our we have a live answering service. Essentially, I mean, it's like 101. It's so cheap. All right, so let's wrap it up. Where do you think? Now, I'm gonna let you go first because I know.
You're deferring to my age?
Do you think it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, a neutral market, or somewhere in between? So if we have
I'm gonna call it a 5, an even market. Really? I believe that if you price your house right, according to condition and what we said, obstacles or objections, it will sell. I believe there's buyers out there. I think that everyone I am a realistic man in life, and real estate has to be realistic. You must price it right, make it, like Faith said, be attainable. I've seen listings not get sold because we can't find the agent. Make it easy to show. That's another thing. Make the house very easy to show.
Yeah, don't put alarm, dog, sleeper.
Call me after 3. Easy to show that it will sell. I do say there's a softening of the market right now. I do believe in 2019, when the tax states that pay state income
There
tax,
we go.
which we don't, I believe that people are gonna come and say, I wanna live in a state without tax.
So you think we're plateaued and we're gonna go back up. So you really believe that it is that buyers have as much power right now as the sellers?
I believe that it's an even market.
That's basically what it means.
At 300 and under, I go with faith that, no, it's the sellers that have the
Okay.
upper hand.
What if it's renovated?
Even over 300, I think the
Sellers still?
pool of buyers right now at that price point are less. Here's the good news for everyone out there. You're a VA buyer, FHA buyer that no one was giving a chance to get a home. Now's the time,
Yeah.
Mr. Buyer.
All right, what would you list your house at? Let's see, Mr. Seller's market, Mr. Buyer's market.
What would I list my
What would you
house
list? What would you list your
at?
house
Around
at?
7 to 7 and
You
a
see,
quarter.
and that's you're just as bad as an unrealistic seller. It would go for $6.99.
But you know, realtors are the worst.
It would go. I mean,
I said, wait a minute.
It's a neutral
Wait a
market,
minute.
but
We
it would
go for $6.99. I said 7 to 7 and a quarter.
I would list it for $6.99. It would maybe go like $6.85.
well, and the answer to you is
Oh my
obviously you are not aware
Of
the Red Rock Country
Which
Club market.
in Red Rock,
The most expensive house is $760.
In
All
Red
right,
Rock.
Go ahead.
in Red Rock, why a house is staying on the market? Is it because there's not enough buyers, or because they're all overpriced?
Overpriced, and some of them ugly.
Ugly.
Yeah,
Alright,
I
okay.
experienced that last weekend.
Yeah.
All right, Faith, are we neutral? Are we slightly
What's your
sellers?
scale? 1 to 10, with 1 being buyers, 10 to being sellers?
Yes.
I would be 4 on the
Wow.
buy side.
Wow.
I still think it is a seller's market with a cooling period right now.
Oh,
You just
so
gotta be
you're
a little
in that.
careful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
So you think 4 towards the buyers or 4 towards the sellers?
Towards the sellers.
Sellers, okay.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm right with you. I still think that the extenuating circumstances of sellers getting a little, what's the word I'm looking for?
Unrealistic.
Not even unrealistic. They've been getting like it their way for so long that they're accustomed to listing
And it
them
could
high.
be that, school just got into
I
this
agree.
last 2 or 3 weeks. Everybody
But just
get ready
remember
for
this,
school.
one of the agents bought a house this year, and she was the only listing to buy in her neighborhood. She's now renovating her house, and in her little neighborhood of maybe 100, there's 3 model matches for sale and 2 others.
Oh,
So,
wow. When there was nothing
supply
to-
and demand, nothing,
Yep.
now 5.
Yeah.
So if there's 5 and I'm Mr. Buyer, I'm gonna go, hey Dave, good
Yeah.
luck. Hey Faith,
You have
Danny, I'll buy yours because you're the one.
okay. So
Has
I'm
the
gonna go
best
this way.
for the most.
This was the seller's power. This was the buyer's power. I believe it's going closer.
Yeah.
So the
Then
buyer,
we're all on the same
we're all on the
track.
same page, and we'll wrap it up with this. What the economist at Inman said, and I believe also Lawrence Yun from NAR said, they said the same thing. Expect rising interest rates, more inventory, and smaller appreciation per year.
We're all in
And
on
I
that.
think that's
That's about what I'm feeling right now.
right
Yeah.
because we still have a supply issue. There's more demand, and regardless of what the economy does, I believe we don't have enough houses. So if you're a buyer, good news. You have
Yes.
more
Good
position
time to
power.
jump in right now if you're a buyer. Good time.
And the rates, we just have Amy here. You can still get under 5 with 20% down and a beautiful score, so you're still good. And sellers, guess what? You're still gonna get what the comps are saying.
Yeah, if you bought a couple years ago, you still have a nice chunk of equity.
It's just not going like this. It's going like this for you. So win all around. Thank you so much, Faith.
Thank you for having me.
Painless.
Yeah, that's so
You're an old
bad.
pro. You're already getting
I
up.
didn't have to get in and go, boys, stop it!
That was yesterday.
I shot 2 boys. I'm experienced at that.
So
And I am still a
I
boy.
believe I won. Faith said it was a slight seller.
I believe I
I
All I
believe
do
I
is
could
win,
fly.
win,
Yeah,
win.
no.